and self-care. So we will start by, I'll start by asking us if you can just make comments in the chat box. When you hear the word authenticity, what comes to your mind? Like, what's the closest synonym, the closest word that you think of that is similar to being authentic? If you can use the chat box and just I just need like 5 suggestions, then we'll proceed from there. When someone says that your idea is authentic or that your work is authentic, what exactly does that imply? So, yeah, I'm talking from Nigeria, actually. I think that you should know that. I didn't say that. Good afternoon in Nigeria. So, being real, okay, I can see being real, true, original. Yeah, the word I was looking for is the first comment said originality. Very good. Now, there is a problem with words. You see, when you use some words, when you assume that 2, 3, 4 words have similar or the same meanings, you might be right in some context, but in some context you might actually not be very right, because the etymology of the word that you're using, like of original, when you say something is original, you're actually saying that it is natural, it is from the source, this is the first of its kind. So if you have an idea, for example, let's say you want to eradicate, I don't know, maybe female genital mutilation, and you are a man, and then you want to be authentic, and you are thinking, I have to be original, you might start to doubt yourself by saying, well, I'm not a woman, I haven't had this experience before, I do not have a friend or a significant other partner that's had this experience before. So how can I make my idea original? So for that reason, that is why we chose the word authenticity, even though we also meant originality. So how it works is when you have an idea we're working on, and you want to be authentic, you have to understand that what you mean by authenticity is consistency. What you mean by authenticity is reliability, that you are a reliable source, you are a reliable authority for this idea, or you are someone that people can depend on if they want to solve this problem. Not necessarily that this thing has happened to you before. So in the reason why we ask you to be authentic as social entrepreneurs is that there is a risk that is inherent in our jobs as social entrepreneurs. The risk is that you are someone who wants to take care of a difficult problem, or so to speak, a wicked problem. And you are taking care of that problem using a business model, but you are not running a business. You're not doing a business, you're not after profit, but you want to solve a problem. So when you are authentic, when you're consistent, when you are real, the two major problems that social entrepreneurs face that we've been listening to from a fortnight ago. The first one is, how do you ensure that you do not derail? How do I ensure that I do not derail, that I remain true to my principles? And derailing can happen in 2 ways. There's what we call mission drift. Mission drift, DRIFT. Your mission can drift. How does a mission drift? When you intended from the beginning to be a social entrepreneur, you want to solve a problem, like the first speaker who takes care of women, who gives them free maternal kits. You want to solve that kind of a problem, and then you partnered with people who provide sanitary pad, or a company that makes some of this maternity product like that. And along the line, they partnered with you, they patented your name, you started having a product, you are making female, you're making sanitary pads, you're making products that are used for antenatal care, and then you started selling them, and then you're starting to make profits. And then someone says, you know what, I think Nigeria has infrastructural challenges. Let us shift our operation to China or to Cambodia, where we can get this the resources we need to produce our pads cheaper, and we can get cheap labor. We can actually, exploit little children. We can get underage children to work for us, and there are no labor laws. We don't have to pay them well. And you are actually think you're a social entrepreneur. You are beginning to drift. The reason why you're drifting is because your idea is not authentic. It is not reliable. So The first way to avoid mission drift is to be authentic. Authenticity doesn't have to be original. It comes with learning, asking questions, making researches. There are attending programs like this. We have programs on Impact Toolbox. Don't take this as an advertisement, please, but we have programs on Impact Toolbox where you can come and upgrade your skills and learn new things and unlearn some things that are redundant. When you do this, it is very, very difficult for you to fall into this trap of your mission drifting. What mission drift simply means is that your purpose shifts from social to economic. You intended to solve a problem, now you are looking for profit, which is not a bad thing, but it shouldn't be the ultimate aim. The moment your ultimate aim becomes making profit, you have drifted. And the reason why you drifted is because you were not authentic enough. You just wanted to solve women's problem because you heard about it or because someone told you that this is a problem in rural areas. You didn't bother, making research, meeting people who actually suffer these problems. When you empathize with them, when you talk to them, it becomes impossible for you to forget what you learned at the beginning. And then when you keep updating your knowledge, upgrading your knowledge, there's this thing we call, in psychology, there's this thing we call social facilitation. And there's something we call in-group, out-group bias. When you become a little bit more successful and you are interacting with people from a higher cadre in the society, you might become less aware of what the people that you intend to help are going through. If your idea is not authentic and if you don't keep going back to, upgrade your knowledge, update your knowledge, that risk, the possibility of that happening is because your idea wasn't authentic. Remember that I said not necessarily original. It doesn't mean that you have suffered this thing before. Don't feel bad if you are from a very rich background and you want to help poor people and people are saying you don't know what they're going through. You can never know what they've been through. Your dad is rich. That's not, you should be able to tell them that, no, I have lived in these locations. I have done research with such people. I have taken so and so courses on so and so platforms, and I did well. I understand this thing. I'm the expert. That is how your idea becomes reliable because it is authentic. The second risk is what we call mission lock-in. Mission lock-in is the exact opposite of mission drift. Mission lock-in happens when you know that your idea is social entrepreneurship, you know that your intention is to help people. And so because of that, you just feel like making money is a sin, is a crime. I have to make sure that I'm helping people and I don't have to sell anything. I don't have to put myself out there. I don't have to look for grants. I don't trust these big companies, which is actually true. The people giving you grants have terrible histories with Africa, with people like yourself. Some of them, you know them personally. This guy, I've worked with him before. He's unethical. I'm not going to ask for grants from him. Yes, it's true. It's very beautiful to be idealistic. Everybody wants to be idealistic. But if you are authentic enough, you will understand that for your idea to persist, for your company to persist, for your workers to not get tired of you, for your volunteers to not feel like you're using them, you have to make some profit so that you can continue operating, and then you have to make profit ethically. So that is the opposite of mission drift, which is mission lock-in. Again, it comes from being inauthentic. Maybe you have an idea that is too personal to you, it's very original to you. This happens a lot with most social entrepreneurs. You grew up from a very poor background. Maybe you grew up from an agrarian community, and your parents, your uncles, everybody, yeah. Okay, I can see some of your comments. We'll come back to them when we're through. When everybody in my community farms cocoa or something, and then these big men, maybe Nestle, Cadbury, these companies, they come, they buy them at very, very cheap rates. And then when I go to the supermarket to buy a chocolate bar, it is almost 1,000 naira. And this is the amount that they buy a whole kilogram of cocoa. How did this happen? And you feel bad. So because of that, you don't want grants from them. You don't want their help. You just want to help people. This is a very beautiful concept, but how are you going to break even? How are you going to feed? Do you intend to die because you want to help other people? How do you intend to sustain your company? So I think I will stop here for authenticity, consistency, and I'll then try to connect the reason why we link authenticity to self-care, which is the other part of my presentation, is because you see, when you are authentic, when an idea is original, you can be called upon from your sleep and asked, a question about your company and you will not panic. And the reason why people fall sick in every part of the world, why people, have high blood pressure, strokes, why people drink a lot of alcohol, take drugs, why people try to get high before they can face a crowd sometimes, is because you're not very confident of what you're saying. You're not sure of yourself. I have to go and consult a lot of people. I have to go and read. I have to consult some drugs too. This happens with especially people who want to help other people. You hear that the guy is an addict, sometimes he can't really face a crowd. He has to take some coffee, which might not be a bad thing, but when it becomes something you depend on before you can face a crowd, you have to take coffee. You have to take coffee. So like that, you have to try to be as ingrained as possible in the idea that you're professing and what you're telling people. Be sure of yourself. Keep learning, keep asking questions, keep making researches. When you see programs like this, register, try to participate, try to participate for real, try to ask questions, try to connect. Knowledge is ubiquitous, it never ends. You keep learning, you keep learning, you keep learning, and it saves you from stress, it saves you from anxiety and panic attacks. You don't fear when they say you are going to, okay, you submitted the grant yesterday and they've scheduled a meeting now, come and explain, and then you start biting your tongue. I didn't really plan this, I didn't well. We want to help, yes. We have a lot of out-of-school children in Nigeria. We want to help them. How do you help them? Yeah, we'll enroll them in schools. In what schools will you enroll them? Yeah, in schools now. You are beginning to sound like a broken record. This is something that politicians say every 4 years, so we are used to these things. What makes your idea authentic? What makes it different? Then how are you in the best position to bring this idea to life? How are you the right person to do this thing? How are we sure that we can trust you to translate this idea to real life? It all depends on how authentic you are, and your authenticity is based on your learning, your experiences, the questions you've asked, the things you've known, not necessarily your original experiences. You don't have to share an anecdotal story if you don't have one. Don't lie, don't make up stories. Some of us are fiction writers like myself. So when you're telling a story and you are lying, even if the story is very beautiful, we know you are lying. We understand. It doesn't mean we won't trust you, but we will feel, does it have to do that? You can really advocate for something that doesn't concern you. The people, some of the abolitionists in the past who fought for the cessation of transatlantic slavery were not slaves themselves. They've never been slaves in their life before, but they could advocate for it because they asked questions, they met with people who have suffered enslavement, they knew they could tell you what it feels like because they had taken their time to study it. You don't have to have an original story. And I'm going to tell you a little secret. I learned this secret in 2012, I think, I won't tell you from where. The secret is that actually no idea is original. No story is original. There's nothing on earth that is happening today this is the first time. If you can say the internet, well, there used to be village groups, community meetings, where people used to meet under canopies, under trees. It's the same thing as the internet. You had pen pals before, you sent letters to people you've never met. That's what you do on Facebook today. It is just facilitated with technology. If you say the computer is original, there was the abacus before. Now you can understand why you do not have to have a story that is anecdotal. Then now let's move to self-care, which is my own area for real. As my boss introduced me, I'm a health psychologist, so this is what we do. So defining self-care, I again would like you, if you can just use the chat box and just in one word or two words, you can say what you think it means when someone says, take care of yourself, practice self-care. What do you think they are referring to? And what organ, what part of your body exactly are you caring for when you practice self-care? What particular part of your body do you think needs the self-care the most? While we do that, I'll keep talking. So self-care is basically a Western concept, and people easily feel very good. I've seen mine. So people easily get ticked off, it makes you feel a little bit uneasy when you hear self-care. It sounds like something that would be said by someone who has had a beautiful life, someone who is a little bit narcissistic, lives in a bubble, doesn't know anything. What is self-care? What of my brothers? What of my sisters? What of the community? So when we say self-care, what we actually mean is health promotion. We mean wellness, taking care of yourself. And yes, the first person to say mind was Olusegun Adebisi. Very good. He said mind is actually your mind. Now, again, if I wish this, I wish that we could have a physical session where I could actually, we could practice a little bit of self-care, and you'll see how easily people mistake what they think is self-care with what they think is self-care, but actually it's just self-knowledge. When you say mind, when you say your mind, a lot of people, if you ask them to touch what part of your body is your mind, where do you think your mind is? A lot of people touch their chests, they touch their heart, and they say, yes, mind, no, mind. But in reality, it's your brain, your cerebral cortex, the part that thinks, that regulates your behavior, that tells you what to do, what not to do, like that. So when we say self-care, we're talking about health promotion. And there's a misconception that is common with we learned folks, people who have had a little bit of formal education. We mistake knowing something for practicing something. We mistake knowledge for practice. So some of us actually know all the basic steps of self-care, but we don't practice it. Not some of us, a majority of people don't practice it. There are researches, like three. I will mention three. I will just tell you what the research was about and what the finding is, and you will confirm that I'm right. Everyone here knows one person or the other who smokes cigarettes, tobacco smoke. Everybody knows one person or the other who smokes tobacco. If you ask any average human being on the street today that what does tobacco do to you? What does it do to you? What is the warning on the pack of cigarette? They tell you, it damages your liver, you're liable to die young. In fact, now it is you are going to die young. It's not liable anymore, I think. There are different, very, very dire warnings on packet of tobacco. In spite of that, people still smoke it. Companies still make them and make profit. In fact, some of the companies that you are going to be asking for grants are tobacco companies. Again, go back to that mission lock-in and try to remember that even though you want to be very, very ethical, you want to respect yourself, you should try to stay afloat as a business. So sometimes you shouldn't be too querulous about the source of your funds, so long as it is companies, it is legal, it is not money laundering, it is not a thief giving you money he stole, not someone coming to cry to you that I feel guilty that I have done this bad thing to these poor people and now they can't go to school. So this is the money I stole, go and build a school. No, not that. You can end up with jail if you do that. But if there's a company giving grants and it is Procter and Gamble, and you hear somewhere that they use child laborers in Cambodia, well, unfortunately, that's the world we live in. That is why we are social entrepreneurs. We're trying to build a new system of doing business while doing good. And the money from people who do bad can help you to do good, but not criminals. Coming back to what I was saying. So when we talk about self-care, you understand the definition of self-care now. It is health promotion. It is your health beliefs. There are things that you do to keep yourself healthy, because there's a risk with our work. There's a very big risk to our work as social entrepreneurs. That big risk is that, you are interacting a lot with people who evoke compassion, people who make you pity them. You're interacting with them. In fact, that is what you are all about. Most of you filled the questionnaire at the beginning, and every single one of you picked a sustainable development that is aimed at making life easier for people, making people healthier, making people better. So you actually want to reduce vulnerabilities that is inherent in the current socio-political system of the world. Because of that, you are dealing with vulnerable people. If you do not practice self-care, don't worry, I'll define self-care and I'll tell you how you can know if you're actually practicing self-care or not. I hope you have the time. If you don't practice self-care, there's something we call compassion fatigue. Write it down, remember it, because it will happen to you. Compassion fatigue happens when you meet so much, you interact with so much suffering, so much problems, that you become desensitized. Someone comes and says, my daughter has not been able to go to school. This is her third year. She was a brilliant student. She was the best. Now I can't afford a school anymore. We need your help. And you are like, well, how many kids do you have? She says 12. And you say, why did you have 12 kids? Do you want to kill yourself? How did you have 12 kids? Don't you know family planning? She didn't. That is a symptom of compassion fatigue. You are no longer pitying people because you've seen too much suffering. And the reason why this is happening to you, you might not know, is because you have not been taking care of your own self. So you are beginning to get, you get, what's that word again? You get resentful of people that you are supposed to be pitying. You begin to resent them. So how you avoid that is that you take care of yourself. How do you take care of yourself? First, you have to know yourself. I will have, just as I said, after this presentation, in case you want like a document, I will make it available. The first thing you do when you want to practice self-care is that you have to ask yourself basic questions. Basic questions like, how much sleep do I actually need in every 24-hour cycle? The average person needs 8 hours of sleep. Some people need as little as 6. There's a very small category of persons that we call the sleepless elite. These people can survive on as little as 2 hours of sleep in every 24 hours, but very few of us, you might never meet any of them while you are alive. So what category do you fall into? How many hours of sleep do I need? Now, remember that I said at the beginning that there's a problem with knowledgeable people. You actually mistake your knowledge for practice. You think that because I know something, I practice this thing. Because I know this thing, it means it's not my problem anymore. But I've proven to you that it is wrong. I said I would give 3 examples. Okay, the first was cigarettes. The second is malaria. You see, in Nigeria, more than 100 children die every day of malaria. And I think up to almost 1,000, but let's not bring figures that would depress us here. More than 100 children die every day of malaria. And studies have shown that almost 100% of Nigerian adults are aware that what causes malaria is mosquito, the female Anopheles mosquito. Now, you can ask any Nigerian friend you know when last he or she slept in a mosquito treated in an insecticide treated net, or the last time he cleared the surroundings because of mosquitoes, or the last time he even tried to remember them that mosquitoes exist too. Maybe I should cover myself when I'm going out. That is a second example of how much people don't practice what they know, but they think because they know these things, it won't happen to them. So you make yourself vulnerable to problems that you shouldn't be having. The third example that I would like to give is the HIV example. The same thing, a lot of people know that almost every other person has multiple sexual partners. And in spite of that, a lot of people don't. This is a funny example, actually, but I will give you. Someone did a research in a university in Nigeria among young people who were going for this evening reading they do in a particular school where it is common that when they go for their evening reading, like night before exams, things happen. So someone did a research and he randomly asked people who were going out for this night reading with their girlfriends, how many of you, in fact, let me bring a better example. People who are going for NYC, if you know, someone checked the boxes of people going for NYC and saw, did anyone of you take any form of protection with you? And they said no. Well, what if an opportunity comes when you're there, maybe you get some privacy with your girlfriend, if she allows me. So if she allows you, you did not think that you can get any kind of STD, you didn't plan that. So knowing that a problem, that you are vulnerable to a problem, is not evidence that you will protect against that problem. For that reason, now going back to what I was saying, the first I said, like, how many hours of sleep do I need? Most people know this. They can answer this question comfortably. But ask them the follow-up question that how many hours of sleep do you actually get in every 24 hours? I know some of my bosses don't sleep at all. I won't mention, I think I have 3 bosses here, so I won't mention their names. Some of them, it's anytime you message them, they answer you back, meaning they don't sleep. And your brain needs to sleep. When we started at the beginning, when I said mindfulness, many people said mind. Yeah, this is your mind. This pumps blood. This is your mind. So your brain needs to sleep. It has to sleep. If you don't sleep, if you don't rest, the reality is that you have to use coffee, use some stimulants to make your brain produce what it produces naturally, force it to produce those things unnaturally because you want it to be active. You are punishing your brain. It will tell on you later in future in life. It can tell on you now you can die. And you can say, well, I don't want my company to die. I have a good idea. I don't want it to die off. That's why I do these things. Let me tell you the honest truth. If you kill yourself while doing good, it is a lose-lose situation for you. The first loss is that why it's a lose-lose, there are two reasons why you might think you are doing the right thing. If you believe that my dying will kill my idea, and if you do die, and your idea does die, all of those people who will have benefited from your idea, you have deprived them. So you've lost, they have lost. On the other hand, if you do die, I'm using death now as a generic term for, breaking down, burning out, but let's use the most extreme so that you will fear. The other alternative is if you do die and the company continues and it goes and becomes better, then what exactly did you die for? I hope you understand that. So you should practice self-care by starting with the basics. Look at a baby. When a child is born, you were once a baby, you needed to sleep all the time. Your need for sleep never changes till you die. It is possible that now you don't have to be sleeping like a baby, but your brain still needs sleep. You always need sleep. Secondly, nutrition, food. Do you have time to cook? Or do you order takeout? Do you eat junk? Do you eat spicy food? Do you eat things that stimulate you? Do you eat your favorite foods or the foods that your body actually needs? Everybody has a particular type of meal that they like, and most of us, the type of meals that we like are the ones that do us the most harm. The most harm. So for real, what does your body need? How much nutrients does your body need, and how much are you getting? You should know, in case you don't before, that your brain feeds on the same food that you eat. The nutrients from the food that you eat is what nourishes your brain. So you are susceptible to stress, to burnout, to depersonalization, to depression, to actual mental illnesses when you don't eat well, or when you don't eat right, when you're always taking foods that are pumped with chemicals and spices and spices and spices. Number three, what stresses me out? What actually stresses you out? Do you get stressed out by, having a lot of having deadlines rushing at you? Do they stress you out? Does particular kind of movies or music stress you out? You should have a notebook where you have these things written down, or if you don't know, you can ask your significant other. Some of us don't know what stresses us out. I personally, when I listen to rap music, I become unnecessarily aggressive. It took me a while to know that. And some of us, when we listen to extremely soft music, we become sleepy or emotional. So do you play Celine Dion and cry unnecessarily? Do you listen to music that actually depresses you? Is there a need for that? Do you have to do that to yourself? Like that? What kind of friends are good for me? We all have friends. There are friends that it doesn't matter whether your friend is inspiring you to greatness. If he's inspiring you to a mental breakdown, you have to take a break from him every once in a while. If you have a friend that is always pushing you, you are too good, you are too brilliant to be this, you are supposed to be better than this. It's very good to have such friends, but you have to create a social threshold. This is as far as this guy will get to me. Once it has gotten to this stage, I need to take a break from this friendship. It has nothing to do. You don't have to explain to anybody. It's yourself. You can switch off your phone and just disappear. Because if you break down, that your friend might be someone who just knows how to talk, who doesn't practice these things for himself. He will come to your funeral and he will come and say, you know what, this guy, we used to warn him, he will not sleep. Today is in Honolulu, tomorrow is in Mexico, next week is in Canada. He goes all around the world helping people, and now he has broken down. So what kind of people stress you out? Do parties stress you out? Do occasions stress you out? Do you have to force yourself? You are a social entrepreneur. You are getting invites from all over the world, and you are not someone who is used to a crowd. Someone just spoke before and asked a question from the last speaker about not being very good in public speech. Uncle, you just asked a question in public. You are good. There's nothing wrong with you. It is possible that your personality type, you are the reclusive type, you don't really enjoy these things. You are never going to start to enjoy these things. You just have to know how much of it you need. If it is maybe in every 1 week, I can do 30 minutes of public speech. Anything other than that, it becomes stressful. Do 30 minutes per week. Whenever there's a public speech again and that week, delegate. If you do not delegate, you will start taking drugs, you start taking coffee, you start taking these migraine medications that people say they calm you down. They don't calm you down. They are forcing your brain to do what it doesn't want to do naturally. They force your brain to produce what it produces naturally. And if your brain gets used to depending on medication for something that it does naturally, the brain is also, it's liable to be lazy. It just refuses to produce that thing. So you will never get that feeling of, you won't be pumped up until you take those drugs or you listen to some music or something. So like that, know your limits, know your social threshold, know your pain threshold, know your empathy threshold, know how far you can go. You know that once I have gone this far, I will break down. And when you've gone that far, delegate. You've learned many leadership skills from beginning. They've told you the power of delegation, understanding your environment, reading the room. Then I just talked about what stresses you out. You can have friends, partners, colleagues, workers who enjoy, who live off the things that actually stresses you. So whenever those things that stress you will happen to you, you can always push them to go do it for you. It's not a problem. Do not believe that because someone you feel smarter than is doing something, I can also do that. No, there are many personality types. This we might not have the time. I would have told you the different personality types and how they work and how some people that you think have a problem, they have no problem. That is who they are. They are socially reclusive. They like to work from the background. It does not necessarily mean that they have self-confidence. They just easily get burnt out. They get tired. If I go to a social event, after an hour, I'm tired of the place already. Doesn't mean I don't have confidence. I'm tired. I've done enough for a week, and it can take me another week again to be charged for another episode of that. If you force me, I'll start, drinking. So the next thing, hope we still have time. Let me check. This is
no, sir. Unfortunately, your time is limited.
But my time is limited. Okay. So I will just do a recap. Then I'll talk briefly about mindfulness, because if you after this, please go on Google, go online, Google Google self-care, Google how to meditate on your own. Don't go too deep into these things because some of the things you meet online are actually not very. Then practice mindfulness. Mindfulness helps you a lot as a social entrepreneur, a lot, because you are dealing with the most socially deadening circumstances. Problems that should not be existing. In a country where some people can afford to use champagne to bath themselves, some can't even afford 3 square meals. So if you allow yourself to get sucked into your work, if you're not mindful, you will become you become an emotional wreck. You will be miserable, and justifiably so, because why is this happening? You will start questioning your religion that probably helps you to manage before you start wondering that where is God when this is happening? I mean, this is a little girl. I did a work on female genital mutilation, and halfway into that work, it was looking like as if I was going to hurt myself. It was unbelievable what people did to their children. You have a healthy child, you take him to one local woman to cut off parts of her body. A child that is just 3 days old, you're talking about you want to prevent her from doing some things in 20 years' time. Do you know if she will get, why are you sexualizing a baby? But if you are mindfulness is just about you are in nature, you understand what is happening, in every circumstance there is some good, appreciate the good, learn how to breathe. The fact that there's someone like you seeing this problem as a problem, and there are people, there are funders, there are multinationals willing to give you money to solve that problem, is enough reason for you to be happy, for you to feel, thank God this is actually happening. What if I was also in a position where I'm arguing that it is good for us to have our baby girls, let's cut off parts of their bodies so that when they grow up, their libido will not be too high, or so that, or for whatever reason, these things happen. So mindfulness allows you to be able to, live in the moment, appreciate the moment, know how to, do breathing exercises, don't panic unnecessarily, there's no situation that is not salvageable as long as there's a social enterprise that is dedicated to solving that problem. So long as there's someone thinking that this problem is solvable, then it is not a bad thing. Don't feel bad about it. Don't let it get you to the point that you become very cynical, very pessimistic. You start condemning people whatever comes, you'll be like, have you seen what people are going through? Some people cannot eat. It will get to a point where you start looking, you won't eat well, you won't sleep well. Food won't taste nice in your mouth again. You'll be wondering, why am I eating when someone somewhere can't eat like that? But mindfulness helps. To just Google simple ways of being mindful. It's not very difficult. Then let's talk a little bit about the component of self-care. I've said that at the beginning: diet, food, and nutrition. I talked about sleep and time management. Time? Okay, I'll round up now.
Yeah, you have just 1 minute.
I have how many minutes?
You have just 1 minute to go, sir.
Very good. Finally, be engaged. Whatever you are doing, stay alive, stay hopeful, be very optimistic. Don't ever see a situation as the end of the world. You applied for a grant, you did not get it. Don't go and sleep and say, I'm not doing again. This thing is bad. Stay hopeful, stay optimistic. So long as there's someone like you out there wanting to do good, then there is hope. So thank you very much. It's been an interactive session. I wish I had a screen to share with you, but I can send you a document later. Hopefully, we can put it on Impact Toolbox, so you be forced to register. Then you access it. Self-care and authenticity. Thank you very much.
Wow! This has been an amazing session. Really, this has been a mind-blowing, a jaw-breaking, amazing session. Everybody, please, if you've loved this session from Mr. Yinka Saeed Bello, kindly unmute yourself for just 30 seconds and let's shower Mr. Yinka Saeed Bello with a round of applause. Please, if you enjoy this session.
Thank you,
Mr. Saeed Bello. Thank you very much, sir. God bless you abundantly.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All the way from South Africa. Thank you. Awesome session. Amazing.
Mute yourself back. Thank you.
Amazing session. Thank you.
This has really been a very great session, and it's just very structural that the Impact Toolbox team, after giving us the resources we need for our businesses, for our social enterprises, for our organizations to triumph, it is also needed that humans are running these organizations, and the humans who are running these organizations need to triumph as well for this organization to run well, and the need for this self-care, because you have to take good care of yourself. And once you are not in good health, or your care is underrated, it's going to tell on how your organization is going to run. This has been, I would call it a therapy session, actually. I would call it a therapy session. This has been a very good therapy session from one of the greatest minds at Impact Toolbox to give us what it means to be authentic in our dealings, in our efforts to bring change to our community, change to our world, why we have to be authentic, and when things go south, what we need to do. And also from shifting direction from the part of organization to our personal self, how we should take good care of ourselves. This has been a great session. I would just entertain just one question. One question for Mr. Yinka Saeed Bello. Fastest finger, whoever raises hand first would be the first person to ask, first and only person to ask question. Uthman Allahu, you have the floor.
Okay, so first, thank you very much for that insightful session. My question goes thus. So sometimes you are working with some few people, and then you realize that the kind of energy you are putting to make something work perfectly, you are not getting it from the rest of your team. And at some point, you realize that they are expecting the same kind of gratification. How can you actually advise so that you'll be able to and then be able to keep the team in shape? Thank you. Over from my end.
Okay, I think I got that question. The question was already answered at the beginning. I said that there are some factors that can be sources of stress for you. In this instance, your partners are stressors because you are not operating on the same wavelength with them. Now, there is no magic formula for treating something that stresses you. I will just tell you that how would you behave if you know that if a particular kind of food that you like or that you eat is causing migraines for you? What do you do to that food? You try to, check the component, what is making this food give you migraine. And if you see that the component of that food is in the nature of the food, let's say if it is pepper, bell pepper, and the peppery sensation you get from it is the reason why you are having headache, then you have to stop taking pepper. So the same thing with these people, you have to interact with them with the intention of finding out if they actually are able to do better and they are not doing better, or this is the best you can get from them. You have to be open with them. We are in this together. This is our plan. This is our goal. These are our goals, and this is how we think we can actualize them. So are you in it with me 100% or not? If they are not 100% in it with you and they are not willing to give more than you expect from them, then you have to replace them. It's simple. There's no, as I said earlier on, if there is one person who wants to do good, who has seen a problem and is solving that problem, that is enough to make you happy. Do not feel like I need 100 people with me. Some of the ideas that changed the world were mad ideas by people who were considered mad people, and now we are all benefiting from such ideas. Like the iPhone most of you are using, the guy who started the whole Apple product was considered a lunatic when he said he could put so much in a little device. Now we are all enjoying it. So yeah, if the team you have is not working for you, do not cut off your team immediately. Try to have a very, very enriching session with them. Try to see if what is causing the problem is in their nature and they are not willing to change. And if that is so, then you replace them. And if they are willing to change, you go ahead with them. And if there's a way you can give them lesser roles and bring in people who will give you what you want, you can still retain them, but do not continue with something that stresses you out. It does you no good. It does your venture no good. And at the end of the day, everybody loses. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yinka, for that succinct answer. We really appreciate your time, your effort to be able to put forth this presentation. It has really been a great, apart from it being a learning session, it has been a therapy session. Your delivery system has really been great. Thank you so much. From this end, unfortunately, I would not be able to answer or to entertain further questions for Mr. Yinka Saeed Bello, but you can also book perhaps a therapy session with him after this. Oh yes, you can book a therapy session with him after our engagements today. I'm sure he's kind enough to grant you some of his time. Of course, sir, please, if you be kind enough to give us your social media handle so that many of us can reach out to you, perhaps your email, your LinkedIn account, your Instagram handle, or Facebook, any of the social media handle where we can have a reach to you, we will gladly appreciate that. Once again, you can always give us the feedback on the comment section. It's much needed. How you think this session has really impacted you, what you learned from this session, from different speakers. We would love to get that. I know we are far behind time. Without further ado, I would want to call on also a member of the Impact Toolbox team to give us some brief information, because some people missed the last session and they are not properly informed on the evaluation form. So please, I would call on Mrs. Temitope to come and give us some information regarding this. Thank you. Mr. Temitope, please, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ife. Thank you, Yinka, and it was a very inspiring session and therapeutic. So we are at the end of the program, and it's been a wonderful 3-day program. Thank you, Dr. Shegun, for putting all of us together. Thank you to every member of the team, Impact Toolbox team, that are working behind the scenes to make this work. So we have the evaluation form. As at now, everybody should have done the pre-boot camp evaluation form. So it is mandatory for you to do it, for you to get a certificate. So we have two forms. We have the pre-boot camp and we have the post-boot camp form. What we need this form for is to evaluate the knowledge you've gained throughout the program, and we want you to improve on ourselves when we are creating another program similar to this, or maybe the next edition of YID. So in case you haven't done the baseline survey, it is mandatory for you to do it. And I would love, if you've not done it, to use the mindset of before the program, what you thought before the program. Do not let the program influence your answers or your opinion of the form. So Dr. Shed is going to open the form now. This is it. You have to complete your baseline form. It is 5-10 minutes at top. Then you have to fill in for every day. For example, the first day we had the balancing, it's gone. Okay, this is the form. Can we just stay on this? So for the first day, we have the balancing social impact and profit in 2022. You have to tell us what you learned there. We need a quantitative feedback from you. Please don't just feel, I love the session, I like the session, it was an insightful session, it was a thoughtful section. No, please give us at least 4 or 5 years of quantitative feedback. This is what I learned. This, for example, for my home feedback, I would say I learned that partnership is important. It's more important than competition. You have to collaborate. So I would write that for my own feedback. So you have to give us a quantitative feedback. We're going to go through this before you can be issued a certificate. Although your certificate is automatic, once you do this, you're definitely going to get a certificate. But your feedback must be substantial for you to get a certificate. So although it is automatic, there is still like some terms and conditions for you to get the certificate. So for example, you have this, you can still watch the video there. Everybody can see that. You can go back there to watch the video in case if you've missed it. Then see, we have one, can you stop? Okay, this section was impactful, yes. You've gone up. Okay, so this is like what we want, but at least a little bit more concrete. Always think about sustainability in whatever step your organization is taking. So you need to talk about things like that. Let us know what you actually learned from the program, and we would use that to improve on ourselves in the future. So you have to fill for the three sessions for the first day, the 3 sessions for the second day, and the 3 sessions for the third day. It is important for you to do that. And at the end of all this quantitative feedback, you have to fill a post-bootcamp survey. The post-bootcamp survey let us know how far we've gone, what you've learned from us, and the impact you took back home to your organization, to your businesses. What did you learn from us? So the post-bootcamp survey is not just for you, it's also for us, and it's also for the society. So we can use it to derive research and quantitative feedback of what we need in Africa when it comes to youth development, when it comes to developing our youth, when it comes to developing our society. So it is very important for you to fill this end of program evaluation form, which is the post-bootcamp survey. So it's going to take approximately 15 minutes to complete. I know you guys have learned a lot, because me as a person, I learned a lot from it, especially Dr. Saeed's section, because it was jabbing us. I was jabbing the team anyhow, just giving all of us our size. So I know everybody has learned something from this session, and I hope that we'll see more of ourselves. And before we go, I need to talk about the mentorship program, which is something that it's a part of Impact Toolbox. So we do things like this. Not exactly this, not the youth in development, but we do similar session. For example, like Dr. Shegun, Dr. Saeed Bello's session, we do things like this monthly. We call it the mentorship series, whereby we bring in different mentors to come and give insights or their experience or their expertise, give us the expertise, teach us what they have gone through, and so that we can learn from their mistakes and their strengths. So we have that mentorship program, and we do it every month. We're going to be sending you an invite, and I hope you guys will join, because if you enjoy this, definitely you're going to enjoy the mentorship section too. So we would send you an email about the mentorship program. And also we have other courses on Impact Toolbox. We have brilliant courses that are from one of the best in the world, resources that are what's more than we're even calling it. So I think you need to go to Impact Toolbox if you've not done that, and check different courses. Some are for free, some you have to pay check the different courses and learn from the experience of other people, because that is the only way you can build yourself. As a leader, you need to learn. All the speakers have one thing in common. They talk about learning and putting yourself out there. So you learn and then you put it into action, and then you put it out there for everybody to see. So we have courses on Impact Toolbox that are free and some that we have to pay for. So you just have to register, and then all the materials for this program will be available on Impact Toolbox. And we're probably going to have a course especially for Dr. Saeed that has to do with understanding our mental health when we are in the development space. So I think this is the end of the boot camp. I know I'm still going to meet some of you in the fellowship program. So thank you very much for participating, and thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience, and thank you for your willingness to learn. Thank you to Impact Toolbox team member. Thank you, Deborah, Ife, Yinka. I thank myself too, because I did work too. Thank you, Dr. Shegun, and every other person on Impact Toolbox team. Thank you to all our facilitators, and the most thank to you guys for coming here, because without you, there is no program. So thank you very much. And I think this is the end for me. Dr. Shegun, do you have anything to add to it?
Okay.
I guess you've really said everything, Payme. Thank you for putting all of this program together. Like those of us here in Canada says that you are really, really trying. We having you to have to invite all of the speakers and put all of this program together is a lot of work, and you've done it fantastically. So thank you so much for all your hard work. We really, really appreciate it. We are celebrating you. I wanted to ask if you could talk a little bit about the fellowship program and when the selected fellows would most likely hear from your team.
Okay, that's no problem. Okay, so we know that after the boot camp is the fellowship program, and the fellowship application opened October last year and closed this January. And we have actually selected our fellows, and we've selected amazing people. If you were not selected, it's not as if you're not amazing, and don't get me wrong, but this people had put more effort in their application, and we don't mind working with everybody, but there is a strict number of people we can actually select, and we've selected them. So the fellowship program will start in April, and it's going to be for 3 months. We have like a three-tier section. So we have the program, a three-tier program. We have the bi-weekly program, we have the monthly program, and we have the final program, which is the peer group program. And the peer group is the most amazing part of it. We're going to be pairing you with a student from outside Africa, and we're going to pair you based on your area of expertise or the area in which you want to become an expert in. So the 3-month program is going to be practical. So if you're selected, just know that you're ready to work, wear that trouser that is going to make you work very well, because we don't want a program that you just went through. We want you to be able to practicalize everything we're teaching you. And so even our facilitators are people that are coming to teach you, like primary school students. You need to learn this thing, do it like this. Like, for example, let's say the grant writing. We taught you what the importance of grant writing, but now we're going to teach you how to actually write the grant. So that's what the fellowship program is. So we're going to send you a mail out. And if you are selected as a fellow, we need something from you, and it's very important. We need your story. Your story is very important to us, because we tell your story, we tell our story, and that's how the world knows us. So it's very important for you to send us pictures and quantitative, like I always keep on saying, quantitative feedback of what you've done, or quantitative analysis of your program. So we'll be sending you a mail, and it's going to carry all this, but just to put it out there, we need pictures, quality pictures. If you don't have a quality picture, you should start taking it, because once you have there, you might probably meet funders, and it's a story that tells, it's a pictures that tell stories about you. It's what you put out there that people know. People cannot be in your head to know what he put out there. I know that Dr. Shegun in his mind is saying I'm very guilty of this thing. I don't do it. Yes, I know that, but I'm just to put it out there. So we need quantitative picture. What's more is that just be ready to work, and we're going to send out more information about the Youth and Development Fellowship Program. Thank you very much.
Sorry, I posted a question earlier on in the group chat, in the WhatsApp group chat, and it was not answered. What exactly is the link for the forms that we need to fill in? Because it was not explained.
Oh, okay, so we've sent it to the WhatsApp group before, but I would put it after the program. So it's just www.impact2box.org/course/YID bootcamp/ rather. So I would post this on the WhatsApp group. Then once you come here, you see course. Then please, can you scroll down?
I think the link should be sent to the comment section right now. Okay, yeah.
Yes, it is there. It is there.
I'll press it from there.
No, I'm talking about previously. Before this, I have access to this. There was a link where we had to fill in a specific form, a Google form sheet. What exactly is that for?
Okay, so the first form, we have two forms. We have the baseline form and we have the post bootcamp form. This mandatory baseline form is for us to know your knowledge before the program, so that once you're building, okay, for example, let me just give you, I don't know what you do, but you have an organization and you're trying to, let's say education, and you want to teach a child how to, let's use mental health, because that is one of my field too, mental health. I want to teach a child to understand depression, to understand his mental state. So I'm going to give you a form to understand what I need to teach you. So now this form is for us that next time we are doing a program, because we're going to have a sequence. So next time we're doing a program, or maybe the next edition of YID, we use your knowledge and the knowledge, the other form, that is the post bootcamp, when we see the degree of differences to expand on what we give out to you people. So it was the form of the people from last year, which is the 2021 bootcamp, that created our knowledge. One of the things we learned there is that we need speakers that you can actually relate to. So we changed our level. We changed the pool of facilitators we brought to you, which is quite different from the facilitator we brought last year. So this bootcamp is for those that are coming next year, not just for you, but not just for us, but those that are coming next year rather, so that we can expand our knowledge and know the areas we need to focus more on. So that is what this form is all about. Do you understand?
Yes. So the mandatory baseline survey was only uploaded after the first session was completed, because I did not fill that in, and I'm only doing that last.
Yes, that came from my hand. I should have uploaded it before the program, but then juggling so many things. So I apologize for that. And one of the reasons why I said that you should just like give a space back in your mind that, okay, this is what I was before I did the program, and just be honest about it. So I'm really sorry for that.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. I also wanted to add to just to give a bit of perspective for those of us that may not be selected for the fellowship. It's really not the end of your engagement with Impact 2 Box or the end of the world. It became competitive as we continued to evaluate the quality or the very high quality sets of applications that we received. So we got, I'll just put it this way, only about 10% of the people that applied for the fellowship became fellows, and just about 10%. So it really isn't about what this person is doing or what that person is doing. It was about getting the 10% that we can get. And the 10% is not also about, oh, this is the best set of people. It's about who will benefit from the fellowship the most and who has something to offer to the other. One of the main things that the fellowship will focus on is systems thinking and also value chain creation, in the sense that people can work together and the work Mr. A is doing and the work Mrs. B is doing would find alignment, and they can begin to like partner up and think about their works together holistically. So that's one of the things that the fellowship would try to do. And it was very expedient on the part of the team to look for people that complement each other and all. But one thing I want to emphasize is also that the people that were selected had very valuable work, in the sense that we did a thorough background check, and we went online, dipped everywhere we could dig. And for some people, we even called them on the phone one-on-one to ask some questions, just so that we know exactly what the work is. So many people, and I'm saying it so that in case you're applying for other fellowship programs or other programs, you need to understand that this is exactly what they do. Many people are not exactly what they've written down, both on social media or anywhere at all online. We tried, our team, especially the Mr. Saeed, the psychologist, and Temi, I call them very real people, because they don't believe in vanity metrics. So it's not about social media or about what you pretend or what you present yourself to be online. We went beyond all of that to actually look at the potentials of the ideas, the potentials of the work that you're doing, and also what you've represented as a person, as a person online, not just social media, websites, and all those all sort of places. We went through your CVs also very carefully, and we checked to be sure that those organizations you've listed indeed exists, and all of those kind of things. So it was a lot of I think it took us maybe about 5, 6, 7 meetings of several hours after the first after these fellows, the final fellows were selected, to verify and check. So it was based on the quality of the application that you submitted at first, and then the quality of the submissions and the assignments that you submitted on Impact Toolbox, the 3 courses that we asked you to do. And the third part is background check and verifications, just to be sure that you are authentic. So that's basically the selection process. Now, that part that I started with, where I said it's not the end of the road, is that part of the things we are thinking about concerning next year is to make the application process even easier and better, and to create a path for those of you that had been a part of our application process for this year, but you're unable to become a fellow. You can still have a chance to become a fellow next year. And what that means is that you will have access to Impact Toolbox community and network and the courses. And if you're able to complete all of the expected courses on Impact Toolbox, and you're already an Impact Toolbox community, you, by just reapplying, you'll be automatically considered. And this year's fellow, I had people who had applied last year but did not get in, now getting into the fellowship this year. So I would say continue to engage with the community and keep doing your work. Becoming a fellow or not, you have all of our courses at your disposal. You have our network, you have access to our monthly mentorship program and all the other programs that we organize. So there is still a lot to learn, and there is still opportunities to learn. So just keep engaging with us, and we'll see how we'll help you to learn as much as possible to be able to take your work from where it is now to the level where it will achieve its greatest potentials. So thank you so much. Back to Ife, and I think a couple of people are raising their hands.
Yes, thank you very much, Dr. Shegun. Thank you very much, Timothy Belawa, for the information and clarity which you've given to the various courses online and what needs to be done and what they need to know. Thank you very much, the Impact Toolbox team, for putting this amazing session together. I'm quite sure in one way or the other, everybody here present have learned 1 or 2 things. Unfortunately, I see that there's a hand up, but because of time constraint, we wouldn't be able to entertain your question. But you can always reach out to the team behind this session on your questions, either by sending emails or to various mail outlets. Of course, that will respond.